Every year around the summertime, dogs are dying of heat strokes, and people are unaware of how easily a dog can stroke out when the temperatures start to rise. So what I'm gonna show you guys is what a veterinarian has to say about this and ways that you could prevent your dog from actually going into organ failure and dying. So some of the reasons why people's dogs are dying is because, number one, they have them chained up in the backyard, and when the sun starts to kind of shine on them, the dogs have nowhere to hide. They don't have a back patio. They have no shaded space. There's no water left out for them. So the dogs go into organ failure and they die. Another reason, like I said, either people have their dogs on a leash or they have them trapped in a hot kennel. So those are the way that dogs are dying at people's homes. Another way that people's dogs are dying is they're taking them on long walks, in the summertime, and they're not paying attention to the signs that the dog is giving. The dog will start to kind of get very lethargic. Sometimes they start looking for shade. You start to look at their tongue turns purple. I mean, the dogs start to give you these little signs that it's overheated, and you got to be able to pick up on those signs. All right, so I'm gonna let y'all listen to a veterinarian, see what he has to say about this, just in case you run into this issue yourself. All right, let's get into the video.
Heat stroke can happen in as short as 15 minutes, where your dog's body temperature rises to 41 degrees Celsius, that's 106 degrees Fahrenheit. When your dog's body temperature gets this high, you see serious changes in the body. It can affect the brain, it can affect all the organs, all the proteins in the body, they literally just dissolve. First thing you're going to see is a dog that is excessively panting. Often they have this very thick, ropey saliva. If you lift up your dog's lips and look at their gums, it'll be dark red, purple, blue, or even pale. There'll be a marked increase in your dog's heart rate. This can then progress to GI signs, vomiting or vomiting diarrhea. These guys can seem really dizzy or confused.
All right, I want to throw in a little note real quick. The bigger dogs, the dogs that are more out of weight and out of shape, those dogs do not cool down as fast as a thinner type of dog. So if you know your dog has a lot of excess weight, don't leave your dog outside for too long when the temperatures start to kind of peak.
You might see muscle tremors, seizures. Your dog might completely collapse. In some cases, even go completely unconscious. Most of us are going to suspect heat stroke. It's really hot outside. Say your dog's been running. He's now excessively panting. He just can't cool down. Thick, ropey saliva. Yeah, your dog's likely got heat stroke or about to get heat stroke. So now what? What do you do? First, remove your dog from the heat. Get your dog out of the car. Get her out of the hot sun. Pick her up. Get her away from the heat. Number two, you're going to gradually lower your dog's body temperature.
All right, now check me out. Now, if you leave your dog in the yard with a tether or leash on his neck, how is it going to escape the heat? How is it going to cool his own body temperature down? So that's why it actually has become illegal. Well, in Texas anyway, where I'm at, in Texas it's illegal to leave your dog on a tether for more than, I believe, 2 hours. So, it's very, very dangerous for these dogs. So let's get back to it.
If you have a hose, mist your dog all over, from the head to the tail, especially focusing on the groin. It doesn't hurt to mist yourself. Get yourself some cold water, a wet cloth.
Now, there are some things he's kind of running through the list that he has prepared. But if you notice, when he was spraying the dog off, he had the dog in the shade. You don't want to spray your dog off and leave him in the heat, because then that's going to create this kind of steam that's going to make your dog hotter. So whenever you start spraying your dog off, take him to the shade.
Have access to a hose, moisten a towel, and cover your dog with that wet, cool water. The groin has a large blood supply, no fur, it can rapidly speed cooling. I've got this ice pack from the fridge. I'm going to wrap it with a tea cloth. Let's cool you off, Pipster. There, that's going to cool you down. Make sure.
All right, now you saw he was using the towel to cool his dog down. What you don't want to do is wet the towel and just leave it on the dog, because it's going to trap heat inside of your dog.
You're offering your dog some water, try to get him or her to drink. Here, Pipster. And if you have one, get yourself a fan. Get that on your dog. Moving that cool air onto your dog will dramatically increase the rate of cooling. Don't wrap a wet towel around your dog. That can actually slow the rate of cooling. And don't be immersing your dog in ice water. When you do that, it can actually cause this vasoconstriction. You can actually delay the cooling. Then get to an emergency veterinarian as soon as possible. While you're...
All right, so the last step, get to the vet ASAP. So in this kind of scenario, you might have to put the dog, if you have an SUV, or you put him in the back seat, and somebody else needs to be doing all the steps that you just saw him doing. But you don't want to take a 30-minute ride to the vet while nobody's, attending to the dog to make sure that he's becoming cooler on his pads and under his groin. So if you just try to pick your dog up and take him to the vet when he's showing you that he can't stand on his own and he doesn't want to drink any water, he might die before you get to the vet. So you want to make sure, if you can, if it's possible, to have somebody helping you out in this kind of situation. And like I said, this is very common. So many dogs die every year. People jogging with their dogs, the dogs collapse. People walking with their dogs, the dogs collapse. And what happened, the dogs will lose the strength in their limbs. And at that point, you got to pick them up. You can't even walk them to the house or wherever you at. You got to pick them up and put them in the car or whatever. So I hope this video helped you guys.